Listen, we were coming on here preparing for another same old post game. Jets fall to 0-3, and yes, they still did fall to 0-3. But man, that fourth quarter, I mean, that completely changed the way we were going with this. The Jets, at least they showed some fight there, scoring 21 points in the fourth. Ultimately lose on a field goal, 29-27. Again, the final score in Tampa Bay with the Jets dropping to 0-3. Where do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about here, Bart? I mean, the initial thoughts on that fourth quarter, at least. Will McDonald's an unbelievable play. What are your initial thoughts on that fourth quarter specifically?
Well, just trying to be able to get off the field, right? You talk about, you have to have it. Will McDonald makes a tremendous play. Now you have two defenders run into each other and give up a huge run by Baker Mayfield. Mm-hmm. And I understand Sauce was injured, so now you have backups out there. But just situational football, like the Jets had put themselves in a position where they had to play perfect to be able to win that game. And unfortunately, they just ran out of time and opportunities because of how they played the game for the first three quarters. Yeah. Right? And, if they would have played the first three quarters like they played the last quarter, then they would have had opportunity maybe to try and steal one. As we saw, upsets galore and looks like field goal. We've watched some exciting football all over the NFL the last quarter, last minute of the game, whether you want to talk about the Rams, you want to talk about the Cleveland Browns, and, of course, the Jets made it exciting with that. They have to be better starting. The pick six is something that we'll come back to. That's a Garrett Wilson problem, not coming back to the football. I understand what he was trying to do by stopping at the first down marker on second down. But understand that you have to come back to the ball, because if you don't, the defender is trying to recover. And Dean made a great play. And, that's part of whenever you give up a touchdown on offense, that usually comes back to haunt you on special teams. But that wasn't the case today.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate. A lot of things we've been talking about the last 2 weeks kind of reared its ugly head again. The lack of tackling and the penalties. I mean, the first half, it was on both sides. It was crazy to see that many penalties get thrown. But overall, man, it's hard to decipher, because if you pay attention to the game, they really only scored one touchdown. It was a bunch of field goals. Defense fought their tail off as much as they could. But what Bart said, it came down to situational football. Even when Burker's early in the second half.
30-29 they gave up, man.
Yeah, but I'm talking about even that one where he juked a couple of guys. Why Baker Mayfield, you're jumping in the air. He's like stop jumping. There's a couple of times we saw guys jump in the air, and it's like, what are you doing? Stay on your feet, make the tackle, and you get off the field, and the defense has a shot.
But we saw that last week with Cook cutting back against everybody over pursuit. Mm-hmm. Now I understand maybe you over pursue maybe James Cook. He's a dynamic running back. Right. Baker Mayfield, come on, man. Slowski, you're getting out. Come on, man.
Yeah, it was weird.
It is a tough one to decipher, right? Because the last quarter, a lot came together. But the reality is, when you go into the week and you look at the Bucs, what did the Bucs just do weeks 1 and 2? They won on game-winning drives with no time left. Mm. So you have to play well enough to put yourself in a position that they don't have that opportunity. And you could sit here and say, man, the Jets fought, and they did. And the Jets Will McDonald made an unbelievable play. There's nothing to take away from there. But the Jets didn't play well enough to put themselves in a position where Baker Mayfield didn't have the ball with a 2-minute drill situation, and they're not good enough to stop him. Most teams aren't. Like, we've seen this before. So I fully agree with Bart. You can't play like that for 3 quarters, but we did enough in the fourth to win. Unfortunately, you didn't. There's still way too many problems with this team right now.
Yeah, and I think that one of the things that's difficult after a game like this is to fully gain perspective on what is actually happening, because it was very exciting at the end of the game. Right. They almost pulled one out in a miraculous way with a tremendous athletic play from Will McDonald. Basically, I mean, he jumps over cars, jumps over linemen as well. But that shouldn't take away from the fact that it's not that they just didn't play well enough in the first 3 quarters. They played very similarly to the same type of football that we've been seeing and criticizing for years now. And I think if you're a Jets fan going into this season, or one of us who's analyzing this team, and you looked at the schedule, nobody would have been surprised if they were 0-3 to start the season.
Correct.
It's not about the wins at this point. It's about how they are playing.
Right.
Are they smarter? Are they more disciplined? Are they
were out
crisper, right?
They were out coached at the beginning. I'm looking at the rush attempts right here. 23 rush attempts, 9 by Hall, 6 by Allen. They were out coached. It took them 3 quarters to figure out, hey, let's replace where they're blitzing. Let's run behind them with crossing shallow routes, right? And then they start having success. They got him with the same blitz, a form of it, like 5 straight times in a row. I'm surprised Tyrod Taylor isn't in the protocol because of how many hits he took.
Yeah.
Big hits inside of the pocket because they couldn't figure out how to pick up the actual blitz.
That was another point. They never moved his launch point. When you have trouble picking up the blitz, and they did it, I think, early in the
They went to a couple boots.
Yeah, a couple boots.
Which is turn
waggles,
protection.
100%. So when you do that, you change the rhythm of the offense because it was obvious that the Bucs had their number. Like every time they pulled up, it was like, oh, we know what they're going to do. And they were just firing away. So you're right, Bart. I think they got out-coached. But on top of that, man, if this team has to get better, it has to get better early, right? Because now you have guys who are 0-3 right now, and it looks like a continuation of last year. So now you're talking about a locker room right now who feel like they're doing everything they can to survive, and they're coming on the other side of this, and the weeks only get longer, games only get bigger, and they're starting to fall behind.
Yeah, and at some point, your best needs to come out on top in a matchup, right? And Sauce lost to Mike Evans a lot today. I mean, that's the reality. And Mike Evans left this game, which ended up being a blessing for the Jets and ultimately got them right back in it, and it ultimately didn't matter at the end of it. So at some point, your best players do need to take over. I thought Quentin Williams was really good today. I thought Garrett Wilson was really good today. I thought the line bounced back in the second half when they looked a little overwhelmed at times in the first half. That safety blitz from Antoine Winfield, they ran it 4 times in the first 3 quarters. He got home on at least 2 of them. Yeah. So that's a big problem.
Big penalty.
And that is a coaching thing eventually, too.